Hello everyone, welcome to episode number 19 of my horror game tutorial series. In this episode I'm going to show you how to make this node, which is going to tell the player what code they have to put into the safe to open it up. So let's go into play mode and let's see in detail what we're going to make. So right here you can see I can interact with the node, and if I press E, you can see the node appears. My player is locked in place, so I can't walk around anymore. And my mouse cursor is unlocked, so I can use it. And now I can read the node. And if I'm finished with reading the node, I can press on this little X right here, which will put the node away. And I can start walking around freely again. So I will see you in just a second. Okay, so now we're inside of the Unity editor. And let's start out by importing a few things. So let's go to your horror game tutorial series folder. And then inside of there, we're going to need a few things. So the first thing we're going to need is in the textures folder, and it's of course the node. So we grab the node and drag it into Unity, and then we're going to drag it into the textures folder. Then the next thing we're going to need is a sound effect, and the sound effect is the paper crunching and the paper put down. So we're going to grab both of these, go to Unity, and then put it into the sound effects folder. Okay, so now that we have imported these, let's start by setting up the node. The first thing we're going to need is a visual representation on this desk that shows the player that there is a node that he can interact with. So we're going to add a new game object, which is going to be a 3D object, and it is a plane. Okay. So now bring this up and let's start playing with its settings. So first I want to scale it down, bring it over here, then scale it down even more, make it look like a piece of paper, and then I'm going to rotate it around, and I'm going to put it somewhere around here, and the last thing I'm going to do is I put it on the desk. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is, of course, we have to assign the node texture. So we go into the textures folder and we're going to apply the texture to the node, and as we can see I scaled the node the wrong way around. So I'm going to fix this, and now I'm going to rotate it all the way around. Perhaps make it a little bit smaller and put it more on the table itself. Okay. Now we need a collider because we're going to interact with this object. We're going to delete the mesh collider by right clicking on it and then click on remove component. Then we're going to add a component, and this one is a box collider, so we're typing in box, and here it appears, it's box collider. Make sure that you don't accidentally select the box collider 2D. We're making a 3D application, so we need the box collider right here. Okay, so you can see there's some green outline, and it shows us that the box collider was applied. So the next thing we're going to do is we're actually calling this plane node. Then we're changing its layer to interactable, and the last thing we do is we add a new tag, click on this plus icon, type in the name node. You've never seen this, and then we go to the node and just apply the tag node. Okay. So now the node is set up completely, and we can start to write a script. So let's go into our scripts folder, right click, create a new C# script, and we're going to call the C# script node. And then before we forget it, we're going to apply the script to the node so that we can start testing right away and don't have to worry about if we applied it or not. So let's apply it. Okay. Double click on the node script to open it up. If you have Visual Studio already opened, it will ask you, and you create a new script or you delete one, it will ask you if you want to reload everything in this solution. And in our case, we want to reload all, so click on reload all. And now the script has opened up and we can start coding. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need is a public reference to the image, because we're going to make the node appear as an HUD element that we're going to put on the canvas player HUD in just a second. So we're going to write public image. Of course, I forgot something. We first need to tell the script that we are actually using the namespace of the scripts, of the UI scripts, so that we can use the UI. So we're going to write using Unity engine .ui, make sure it's a dot, then semicolon and save. And now we can have a reference to an image. So it's going to be a public image node image, semicolon and save. The next two things we need is in public audio clip pick up sound, and then a public audio clip put away sound, right? So we're going to play this sound if we pick it up, and we're going to play this sound if we put the note away. So now, first thing we are going to do in the start method is we make sure that the node image is not enabled so that we can't see it. So we write node image dot enabled is equal to false. So let's delete the update because we don't need it. And we're going to write two public voids, and the first one is a public void show node image. And inside of the show node image, we're going to show the node, obviously. And to do this, we just say node image dot enabled is equal to true. And then we are also going to play the public audio clip pickup sound. So to do this, we say get component audio source dot play one shot pickup sound, and then semicolon. And the next public void we're going to write is in public void hide node image, and then we're going to write node image dot enabled is equal to false, and we're going to play another audio clip. So we write get component audio source dot play one shot, and this time we're going to play the put away sound. So now the script is pretty much finished. So let's go back into Unity and set up a few more things. So right now, oh wait, of course we can't interact with the script because we didn't tell this interact script that the node exists. So let's do this. So in our interact script, we scroll down here, we recheck for all the different kinds of things we can interact with. And we're going to write a new else if. And this time we're going to check for hit.collider.compareTag is equal to node. And if this is the case, then we want to activate to show the node. So we write hit collider.getComponent node, and then show node image, and do it like this. So now in theory we could try this out now, but as you can see, we didn't set up any node image that we can see in the canvas. So let's go and edit the canvas, select the canvas player HUD where we have the save, open it up. I'm sorry, I forgot that we have the interact icon on there. So let's give the interact icon a new body and create a new UI element, which is going to be an image this time. And for the sprite, you can see that we don't have the node available. So why is this? So let's go back into our textures folder and have a look at the node. You can see the texture type is texture, and we know that we want this to be in texture because otherwise we can't apply it on the little node we have on the desk. So we have to make a copy of this. So we're going to not right click, but instead we click on this and then we press Ctrl D to duplicate, and now we have this node 1, and let's rename it to node underscore, let's say UI, so we know it's an UI element. Or no, let's call it node underscore sprite. And then we go to the texture type and change it to sprite, which is 2D and UI. And then apply. So now, if you go back to the image and click on the source image right here, you can see the node sprite appears and we can select this. Okay, so now we have it here. Let's first disable the canvas save because we want to edit this. So now we can play around with the size, of course. Something like this looks about right to me. And then we're going to change the image name to node 1 underscore image or something like this. Okay. Or without the underscore. Okay. So now we have set up the node image, and there's one last thing before we can test. So let's go back to the node, double click on the node in the hierarchy to zoom at it. We of course need an audio source because otherwise we can't play the audio. Okay, and then make sure that by add spatial blend or spatial blend, I don't know how to pronounce this word, make sure the slider's all the way at 2D because we need the sound to be played equally loud, and it doesn't matter how far away I am from the node, so I can be around here and the sound will still be as loud as I would be right here. If you would put this to 3D, then we would change the sound to 3D sound, and we could actually hear different sounds from our left and right speakers if we have a headset, for example. If we stand on the left or right side of the node, and we don't want this in this case. So just make sure it's at 2D. And now put this back, and now put in the variables. So first we need the node image, select this, and then select the node 1 image, select the pickup sound, which is paper crunching, and the put away sound, which is put down. Okay, so now let's play and test it out. And pick up the node. Okay, first you can see the node is a little bit too small. And the second thing is we cannot put away the node. And the third thing is we can still move around, which we also don't want. So let's fix these problems. First, we're going to edit the UI. So I'm going to go into the 2x3 and then drag down this project panel right here. Make this a little bit bigger and go back to the canvas player HUD. Change this to 2D. Select the node and then start to drag it out. So around here, make sure the position is at 0, 0, 0. And then put it back at 0. So this looks about right to me. Okay, so let's save and go back into the white preset, and yeah, okay. So now that we have done this, we can finally address the next two problems, which is we have no way to actually put this node away. So let's start by adding this. We go back to the canvas player HUD and go into 2D mode. And now under the canvas player, in the canvas player HUD, under the node 1 image, we're going to right click on it and we're going to add a new UI element, which is going to be a button. Then put it in the right corner, right upper corner, at least for me. Resize this and then perhaps change the sprite to something you want. I don't know if there's something like a cross, because this is going to be the disable node button, so let's call it like this: disable node or hide node button. Okay, and actually we don't need a text, so or let's change the text to an X and click on best fit so that we can see that this is an X. Okay, so now that we have done this, we go to the onClick event in the button script, click plus, and the object we want to address is of course the node. And here we are going to select in the node script, we're going to select the hide node image. So when we click on this little button right here, the node will disappear. Okay, so the last thing we are going to need to do is we are basically going to do the same thing as we did for the save. We are going to lock the player in place, and we are going to lock the mouse cursor away. And we're going to unlock the mouse cursor, and when we disable the image, we're going to lock it again. So we go back into the script, and if you don't have the save script open, I would recommend that you open it now, because we're going to just copy and paste some code from here, because this is just easier than writing it out all over again. So let's copy this variable public game object player object, and put it in here. So we have public game object, player object. Then we scroll down and we're going to grab this line with the comment so that we know what it does. And here, when we show the node image, we're going to disable the player. Alright, we first have to use the namespace of the characters. So up here, copy the using Unity standard assets.characters.firstperson line and paste it under the using Unity engine.ui and save. Okay. And then we're going to also grab this code here, which is of course going to unlock our mouse cursor. And now we have to basically copy the next part of the code, which is this run right here, and copy it and then paste it when we're going to hide the image. So now the very last thing we have to do is we have to assign the player object, which we're going to do now. Make sure that you are in the scene tab and not in the assets tab, and then select the player. Now save, and we can test this out. And you can see there's still this button up here. We fix this in just a second. Now if I click on this, the node appears, I can't move around, and my mouse is unlocked. Then I click on this, and I can move around again. So we are basically going to make do the same thing we did for the node image, but this time we're going to write public button and then this is going to be the hide node button. I think this is what we called it. And then right here where we show the node image, we want to set it active. So we say hide node button dot set dot. Sorry, we don't want the button, we want the game object, which is the button. I'm sorry that I'm confusing you a little bit. There's a difference, because if we grab the button, then we grab the component of the game object, but we want to disable the whole game object. So we're going to grab the hide node button dot set active. Now this is working, and then make the brackets, and then put this to true. Then grab this line of code, paste it down here, and change it to false. Save it, then grab this line of code right here and put it into the start and save, so that we make sure the button is disabled. And now hopefully this is the very last thing we have to do. We click on this, and then we are going to look for the hide in the scene hide node button, double click on here, and now we're going to test it out one more time. Okay, and now if we press E, the button appears, and if I click on it, it disappears, and you can see everything is working as intended now. So thanks for watching. If you want to stay up to date, please consider subscribing. If you liked the video, please leave a like, it would really make me happy. And yeah, so thanks for watching, until next time, and don't forget to smile.